Welcome to the preview episode of the Grassroots Podcast, a collaboration between NSA and ThoughtFox Media Group.
Grassroots is a weekly podcast devoted to the promotion of emerging sports in Australia and providing advice to athletes and their families as they go from starting out in their sport all the way through to hanging up the boots.
But more on that later. I bet you're wondering who these NSA guys are. Here's a brief overview.
NSA stands for National Sport Academy. It was founded by Dave and myself. Pretty much we both have the vision of building a reproducible or a ongoing ice hockey development program.
Yeah, it started a long time before it actually started, and that's a conversation with Gary at the North Stars, and we had a longer term vision for it, but Gary kind of facilitated it. Rob Stark, player with the North Stars, put me in touch with John, and through email before I even met John, we shared the vision together, and we seemed to hit it off really well and share the same vision.
It was love at first sight.
So we kind of built that from there, and had just started with the hockey thing. And again, always a vision it would be a National Sport Academy. The letters just met up perfectly.
I heard briefly about NSA in 2013 playing with John and Dave for the North Stars team, and in January I was able to join a development camp that Dave was involved in, and he shared the passion and vision of NSA with me, and at that point I knew I was on board from the get-go, and what I thought I could bring to the table was a bit more promotional stuff, and I think that's helped definitely from that point on to get the name out.
Since then we've always had a vision, we've always been open to going in any direction. I think that's where lacrosse has come into it, and grassroots and other avenues like that. We're open to anything, and open to working with good people.
So my part in all of this is I bring the lacrosse side to NSA. So these guys all started hockey. I brought lacrosse. As John said, we're looking to engineer athletes in multiple sports. I was just so pumped to see what NSA was doing in Australia and starting out in Newcastle that I just wanted to get on board, and I just wanted to be a part of it any way I could. So
absolutely, yeah.
I think bringing something to the table like lacrosse, I thought was a perfect match, hockey and lacrosse. And ever since then, it's just been great to be a part of this team.
Our heart and soul is to develop players. We believe that sports are more than just out there having fun and playing games, which it is, but in the sport, in the arena, on the field, you can learn so many things about life. You can develop yourself physically, but also mentally. There's so many things that happen in a game, from small battles, small one-on-ones where you can win, you can lose, and you can learn how to deal with that. You can learn how to deal with success. You can learn how to deal with failure in the safety of just being in a sport. So it kind of builds that, I would say, endurance, that grit that you need in life. So for us, sport is more than just going out there and playing. It is a way of life.
So now you know a little of our background. Here's a bit about what the Grassroots Podcast will offer you week in and week out.
We're having the discussion of emerging sports in Australia and emerging sports worldwide. There are challenges that we go through in growing a sport. We use the hashtag grow the game because that's what we want to do. We want to invite more players, not just to our games or not just to our sports, but to other sports in general. I mentioned the mental aspects of sport, and I feel like a lot of my mental strength has come from being able to learn how to lose, learn how to not get a participation award in sports, and to be able to build and develop that way. Each and every person here, each and every athlete has their own story of where they had success or where they had that moment of failure. And you realize that the only thing you can do is get back up. So with Grassroots, we're pretty much telling the story of athletes. We want to help and engage athletes in their life stories to help them go through the turbulent journey that they go through, the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, dealing with mom and dad, dealing with coaches, dealing with teammates, and helping them in any way that we can.
Absolutely. So in the Grassroots Podcast, every week you will get gorgeous content from all of us in regards to how parents should help their kids in grassroots sports, the meals and foods you should be eating, what it's like growing up in a grassroots sport in Australia, training on the off season, what it's like to actually develop a grassroots sport. So we'll be going through our journey and our story developing sports like hockey and lacrosse in Australia, as well as other sports like basketball, gridiron, and what it looks like to develop those sports. We'll also be interviewing a lot of people. We have a special guest with us that'll be on every week with us in the health nutrition. John, elaborate on our friend Chase.
Jace, he is with Enliven Nutrition, and he's a nutritionist, but he also has a background in sports training himself. and he's incredible. He knows so much about what you guys should be putting in your body, how you should fuel it. Personally, I wish I would have known a nutritionist or gone to a nutritionist during my athletic days. I would be good probably the night before a game. During the week, maybe not so much. So this guy's going to have incredible nuggets for you guys to help you get better each and every day. So that segment of our podcast will be called Better Than Yesterday.
Oh, my favorite segment.
Yeah.
And that's just the start. We'll also be covering hot topics facing emerging sports, such as officiating, trades and team loyalty, and facilities, as well as providing health and nutritional advice to help you hit your optimal performance on whatever surface you play on.
So if you enjoyed this brief overview of what's coming up on the Grassroots Podcast, hit the subscribe button on YouTube for the full HD experience, or head over to iTunes and subscribe to the audio version of the podcast. You can also subscribe directly to our RSS feed, grassroots.libsyn.com.
We're all over social media too. Check us out on Facebook at Grassroots Sports, Instagram at Grassroots_sports, or Twitter at Grassroots_AU.
Head over to our website, grassroots-sports.com.au, and subscribe to the Grassroots newsletter for exclusive content and competitions that won't be seen anywhere else.
Thank you for checking out our preview episode. Tune in next week for the first complete episode of the Grassroots Podcast. We're sure you'll enjoy it.